This flag isn't backwards, it's assaulting forward. Born was a nation of independence, who made the choice to make their lives and their families' lives better. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We carry on that tradition today. Fight on, break through, never quit. This flag isn't backwards, it's assaulting forward. We are grunt style, and this will defend.
Pretty big misconception. People see a swarm of bees and they get freaked out. What they don't realize is that that's when they're at their most calm. So right before they leave, they fill up on honey. And when they fill up on honey, it helps calm them down. They can't extend their stingers. And when they're at a swarm, they have no home to protect. So when they're swarming, they're looking for a new home. I'm probably in its flight path. Coming back to that hive, I actually chose not to accept a track scholarship from Washington University in order to go to basic training for the Army, for the Missouri National Guard, and stayed enlisted for 13 years. When I deployed to Iraq in 0405, I was a sergeant. I was not excited at all to go to Iraq, nor was anybody, because it was a very dangerous time. Didn't agree with the administration's reason for going to Iraq in the first place. Had terrible living conditions, but for our platoon, we were responsible for patrols on a daily basis, 12 plus hours a day. Our mission was to pave like a 27-mile stretch of MSR Tampa, and it went from Kuwait all the way up to Baghdad. And there was a very dangerous 27-mile stretch of just dirt road. Some of the worst driving you'll ever see. And so we ended up paving that. This one time we were patrolling, we were coming back, I think we were coming back from Baghdad, and we pulled up on this fuel tanker that had been abandoned, and a bunch of these kids were siphoning fuel from the tanker. So we called it in, and they told us to try and blow it up so that it would, for safety reasons, which I understand, but get the kids away, and we start hitting it with regular M16s. Didn't do anything. 50 cal, nothing. Mark 19, nothing. They wouldn't allow us to use C4, so we packed up and left. 30 minutes later, we got a call on the radio that it had exploded. So we immediately turned around and haul ass back to the site. And what I saw was one of the worst scenes of my life. These kids had gotten blown apart by this oil tanker that we had left there. And I was a combat lifesaver at the time, and so I tried my best to save these kids, 12, 13, 14 years old. Couple medevacs came, took them away, and they did not survive. And that, to me, was my breaking point of why I was so angry when I got back. Oops. Yep. So this is one of our apiaries. You got a few Langstroth hives here. This is our horizontal hive that acts as a resource hive, and then bring the zipper. You got two of them right here, each side.
Okay. Just getting the smoke going. A lot of times we'll try to use pine needles. I got some pine needles in the bottom down there. And put the smoke going.
When the bees smell the smoke, they think their home might be in jeopardy, like a forest fire coming. So when they do that, they fill up on honey in case they need to leave their home. And when they fill up on honey, like I just said, they get calm, they can't extend their stingers, and so they're less of a threat. Yeah, so when I came back, it was just hard. I moved in with my girlfriend at the time almost immediately, and it very quickly fell apart for many reasons. But stopped by my uncle's house. My uncle's been a beekeeper since he was 12 years old. Like he was one of the first ones I opened up to about what was happening, because I knew that he would understand. He listened to me, and then he said, "Well, have you ever thought about becoming a beekeeper? Have you not?" Did you not listen to what I said? He's like, no, I'm serious. And he proceeded to tell me like all the therapeutic benefits of being a beekeeper, not just like, the buzzing that's around you, but the smells. Like the smell of a beehive of ripening honey is like my favorite smell in the world. On occasion, then I just sit right next to the beehives and watch them come and go and smell their essence, and nice and relaxing. Getting into a hive is another story. You have to be calm and present when you're there because they can sense how you're feeling. And I found out that the hard way one day when I was upset and got into a hive and just started getting stung. So I closed it up real quick and took some deep breaths and calmed myself down, and then went back in the hive and everything was fine. Like none of that mattered. Then I realized how it is helping me with my PTS.
Exactly what we're doing here.
All right, so I'm gonna do a quick inspection just to see how everything's going on and pull some up to 10 honey supers. So the first thing I do is I smoke my hands, since I don't use gloves. So this is where they're just starting to build out the comb. This is plastic foundation. This gives them a guide to build on.
Well, hard to assume because they work their way to the outer edge. So they're starting from the queen on the far side where Drew is. They'll come all the way over to this side. As you see, Jeremy's going, you see more and more wax and more honey that's capped on the top. So as you see, this is actual honey inside the wax. It's capped. So the bees cap it with wax. So if you were to break this seal here, this honey would just start oozing out.
Like this one, loaded. Did a little research and actually found that after World War I, when soldiers were coming back with shell shock, the government had no idea what to do with them. And so they actually set up a beekeeping program. They gave hundreds of thousands of veterans with PTS hives as a way to get their minds off of the war. It was then that I decided if this is working for me, surely it can work for another veteran. So that's when I launched Bee Found, and we give freebies, mentorship, hives, equipment to veterans with post-traumatic stress. And then we mentor them of how to become a beekeeper, get to extrapolate their experiences, our experiences, talk about it together. So to be honest, when I started it, I was like, maybe I'll get a couple guys that are interested, but it's blown up. There's way more applications than I have the capacity. Bee Found has the capacity to do, but it's encouraging.
I'm starting to get into some brood now. You'll see. Looks like.
All right, so you see how this is a little fatter, bigger comb. Mm-hmm. Drone brood in there. So the males are the drones. Actually, there's one coming out right now. Surprisingly.
Yeah, all bees, for the most part, are female in a hive.
And so right now what they're doing is they're feeding that larva. Once they reach a certain development, then the bees will cap them so they can complete their metamorphosis. When the females get born, they've got many jobs, and their first one is pretty much just hive maintenance. So they're cleaning cells, they're getting cells ready for new baby bees. Then they'll transition to receiving honey from the workers out in the field. And what I'm doing, I'm just like glazing over the frames to look for the queen. But there she is.
The camaraderie was great. That's one of the things I loved about the military. For me, that was one of the things that Bee Found as well. I got involved because I am a veteran with PTSD and therapeutic benefits I have really enjoyed. I was a company commander in Iraq for a UH-60 helicopter company in OIF-2. Our deployment to Iraq was, I thought it was a great experience. It was kind of work hard, play hard. We were 10 days on, 1 day off, and on your 1 day off, you were in the company area because you had nowhere else to go. We lived in trailers on the west side of Balad. We were on the Army side. The Air Force side was much nicer. They had Burger King, a swimming pool, all the nice facilities. And we were on the the desert side and got mortared every day, and they call us Mortaritaville. I came back, and we had a helicopter shot down while I was over there. Carry a lot of that with you, I think. I mean, I had hives when I came back. I had alopecia areata. A lot of that's, autoimmune disorder type of stuff. But a lot of times they talk about that just being internal stress as well, and I think that's probably how it manifested itself. For me, the Bee Pound organization that Jeremy founded has been very helpful. I get to volunteer. I get the camaraderie with the other people. That was also just a purpose of taking care of the bees, which I really enjoy as well. Very mesmerizing. It's kind of like watching a fire. You can just listen to the buzz of the bees, and when you're getting in there, it's like we're going through a checklist as you're doing inspections. So Jeremy lives in my neighborhood. I'd known him for his wife works with me at Boeing. I'm a program manager at the Boeing company. A little skeptical at the time, and I was a little nervous too. It was bees. Wasn't sure how that was going to work out, but really for me, I just wanted to try something new. And for me, it was a great opportunity to really dive into a new habit or a new hobby, if you want to call it. And so for the last 3 years now, I've been doing bees. We've gotten honey every year. It's great teacher gifts if you want to give them to your friends and family, and make new friends as well. So again, for me, one of the things I missed the most from the military was the camaraderie. That's one of the things I really enjoy about this organization is you bring people from different groups together, and you do this on a pretty regular basis. Probably once a month I'll see most of these people, and sometimes more often. But I usually work more in the residential area. We'll go get swarms with a group of people, and the exterminators or the pest control will give us a call and say, hey, there's a swarm out here if you guys want to come get it. We're all on text during work, and we'll say, I can get it in about 3 hours. And we all have stuff in our car usually during that part of the season to go get the swarm and bring it back to the apiary.
This side. Yep. And you can hear it in their tone change, right?
Yeah.
The buzzing.
We have. They can hear the volume will increase, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, you're starting to
That's why I add a little bit more
make a
smoke.
little more frustrated.
So I'm gonna shake this one, grab this one, shake this one, and then I'm gonna close the hive up.
Even though he told you it's therapeutic to get stung sometimes, it still hurts.
It does hurt. Beautiful.
So these are super, right? So they're smaller. The other frames we were looking at were deeps. You see that's all capped honey then. And so typically there's a deep, your main, and you can see this little plastic piece right here is called an excluder, which keeps the queen. You saw she has a different size earlier. She can't pass up and down. So the only people that are up here are the queen or the female bees that are making honey. So all your brood, when we get down here, will be in this bottom big, more deep, we call it deep box. And these two supers, or the smaller frames, are all honey then. We'll use these this afternoon when we do our extraction.
Drew is not having a good experience with the bees. He's at least 4 times stung.
They absolutely start to warn you. They start coming and they start attacking. They don't sting, but they start bumping into you on your face or something like that. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, you're telling me to get away. And if you don't pay attention, that's when they come and they zap you.
No,
Wild.
Bee stings you, they die. They don't survive after that. So. Well, I've killed 3. They don't want to sting you, yeah. That's pretty much it for the inspection. We go through it all. This, like I said, is a traditional hive. We usually don't have all in one thing. They're usually on a separate box, like you'll see over here, that we'll set up a service number with, and then they'll usually have one main frame and then 1 or 2 supers that you would collect the honey from. Now I'm up to 3 hives. Last year I went to 2 hives. This year I went to 3 hives, and it makes it a lot easier when you have 3 hives, because if one hive is struggling, you can switch frames and brood over to another hive, which will produce more bees and help them out. And then you can trade back and forth those different frames throughout the year if one hive is struggling more than another hive. So the family, that was adjusted in the beginning as well. We all kind of learned together. So I have 2 full suits in the house. I have a son and a daughter who both help out. My wife helped out as well. She likes to just stand back and take more pictures from the distance, which is great. She's got a little more apprehension of the bees. We should bring my wife, but she's driving by right now laughing. I just saw her drive by, and Steve's wife. They want to talk to a spouse. It's awesome. You're in it. Come on over.
My name is Tanya Bergan, and my husband is Eric, and we got involved in Bee Found. It would have been around March of 2020, just before COVID. I think the purpose of helping veterans find a purpose, literally, and although I'm not as involved in the organization as Eric, you can sit at a hive and kind of lose yourself in watching the bees do their thing and feeling responsible for their well-being. I think it gives Eric a sense of purpose, but in a larger sense, it's connected him to a community within our neighborhood. There's a group of them, and it gives them an opportunity just to get together, and they do inspections all the time and check their hives. Not only the purpose of the organization, but that camaraderie and collaboration just really was helpful for Eric.
All of our information is found on our website, beefound.org. Also on the website, I got a few different ways to donate, either PayPal, or you can check out through the regular online store